Hey, good morning. This is Ed Reed with Thoughts from the Gym. Today is day 146. And today I want to talk with you about decisive decision making. You see, a little earlier this morning, probably about 3 o'clock this morning, I woke up and I was thinking about a decision I have to make in a couple of hours. And I've already made the decision, but I woke up and I was trying to decide who I was going to start for this basketball game. And so I have a group of kids that I coach. It's a 7th grade basketball team. I got some 6th graders and some 7th graders on the team. And so when I woke up, I'm thinking, okay, this is the last game, and I have to decide who am I going to start. Now, the league that I'm playing in is a developmental league. And so the purpose of the league at this level is to develop the players. And on the first day of practice, I told the kids and their parents, I said that my focus is developing your character. My focus is to develop you as young leaders who can work together as a team. And so here we are, end of the season, and now I'm stuck with a decision. Who will start today? And so I want to talk with you just about decisive decision making. And so what I did, I had to go through my formula. I have a formula that I use. Hey, good morning, Bill. It's always good to see you. And the formula that I use, I call it I.R.B. I.R.B. Impact, risk, benefits. And perhaps you might have to make a decision and you don't got time to hem and haw. Just like when you're coaching a team and you're in the game situation, you don't have time to hem and haw about your decision. You got to make a decision. You got to own the decision and you got to march forward. Win or lose, you got to have thick skin. And so when I had to make my decision this morning, because I couldn't wait till I get to the game to decide who I'm going to start, I got to let folks know what the game plan is. So it requires me as a coach to make a decision. So this is how I made the decision of who's going to start today for my starting 5. First thing I had to look at, impact. What is the impact of my decision on my values first? Not anybody else. How will I make a decision that will impact my values? Is the impact of the decision aligned with my values? So I asked myself, I said, Ed, all right, we all want to win. What is your dominating value? My dominating value, and the reason I'm coaching this team, is that I'm developing future leaders. I'm developing young boys to develop confidence within themselves. I'm developing young men who can communicate, who can work through their frustrations, and using basketball as the vehicle to teach leadership and character building. That's the value. The next impact is, well, what if the other team runs up the score? Well, I say, you know what? That's the impact on the outcome. And so that's a risk. So I move from looking at the impact, first box, is the decision I make aligned with my values? All right, what are the risks? Well, yeah, there's some risk. The risk, we might lose the game. The risk is that, on the other hand, those boys who never had a chance to start this season, who will finally get a chance to start, will be able to see what it's like to be in the starting lineup. The risk is if I take that away from them, is it aligned with my values of developing people? You see, think about kids. How often do they get a chance to get in the game on the front end versus the back end? So you got to look at the risk. And you got to ask yourself, are you willing to live with the risk of a bad decision? Well, yeah, I have to. I own the decision. Are you thick-skinned enough to deal with the risk and the worst possible outcome? Yeah, I am. It was the decision I made. I own it. I live with it. Then I go to the B, the benefits. Now you see the benefits. The benefit question is this. Are the benefits of success worth the cost of failure. And let that sit in with you for a minute. Are the benefits of succeeding in the endeavor where you had to make some decisions worth the cost of failing if you're unsuccessful? And so when I had to make this decision, the answer was clear. I'm willing to take the bet because this is our last game, and this is the opportunity to put my boys in a situation where they got to play on it as a team, letting them know that their role at this level, at the developmental stage, that their role is not defined. And so the success definitely outweighs the risk. It definitely outweighs the downside of failure. And if we fail, then we learn from our failures. We keep our heads high and we prepare during the off season to be better the next season. And so some will say, well, Ed, don't you want to win? And there's always the peanut gallery. Well, Ed, why didn't you put your top 5 in and let them play most of the game? You know, and here's what I had to say about that. You see, the scoreboard doesn't determine my value or my boy's value. Hey, what's up, Dion? The scoreboard is just a measuring rod of how many points we were able to put on the board and how many points we were able to stop the other team from putting on the board. But the true victory at the end of a season, the true victory, will my boys be better communicators at the end of the season than they were at the beginning of the season? Will my boys be better leaders, knowing how to control their emotions when the ref makes a bad call? Will they know how to play the game at a better level at the end of the season than they did at the beginning of the season? And so, right on, true victory. You see, when I look at the stats after each game, I'm seeing growth. And if you're playing in a developmental league, the measuring stick is not how many games you win, because you can always get some ringers stacked the team. Now, some of my opponents, they got some ringers that aren't at the developmental level. And man, they are whooping some tail. But you see, when you're in the business of developing leaders, the scoreboard is not the final answer, because it's a team. And each individual on that team contributes to the team. And so, as you go forward today, be decisive in your decision making, not haphazard, but decisive. Understand the game of life doesn't have a whole lot of timeouts. Your decisions will impact your values, so make sure they're aligned. There will be risk involved in the decisions you have to make. And look at the benefits. The benefits of succeeding. Is it worth the cost of failure? And remember, failure is not the final outcome. Sometimes failure is the professor that we all must come across to prepare us for the success that awaits when we've mastered failure. So this is Ed Reed with Thoughts from the Gym. Thank you for joining me this morning. I'll see you tomorrow morning for day 147. And just think, we are 3 days away from 150 days of Thoughts from the Gym. Who would have ever thought? One night laying in a hospital bed, making a deal with God. If you keep me going and get me out of this place, I will commit to improving my health, but more important than improving my health, Lord, use me as an instrument to motivate others so they never find themselves in the situation that I was in. Guys, we only got one life. And you might not be a basketball coach. You might not have a team. But you got people who care about you. You got people who love you. And so be decisive in your decision making about your wellness and self-care. Be decisive in your decision making on your mental health. Be decisive in your decision making, on cultivating the relationships. You see, there's only one you, and you can never be replaced. God made you unique. He gave you a purpose. And so, don't let being indecisive become a barrier to being who you were created to be. It's Ed Reed. I'll see you tomorrow morning. God bless and take care.